What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Berman. Today I am sharing all 5 of my current Scarlet and Violet rental codes before they start disappearing, which will begin happening next week. All 5 of these teams have videos that you can go watch. Links to them are in the description below. All 5 of these teams have team breakdowns that you can watch in those various videos. I'll also do a little bit of that in this current video. And all 5 of these teams have Pokepaste that will not be going away. All you got to do is go to their respective videos and look in the descriptions of those videos for the Pokepastes and for the Showdown copy and paste breakdown there. Basically, I'm going to go in order of the teams that will be disappearing first. I would ask that before we continue, you like, comment, and subscribe, because I made all of these teams. These are all my teams. I did not borrow them from anybody else. It took a lot of time, both figuring out which teams were going to work. It took a lot of hits to my my ranked ladder win rate. I'll tell you that much, especially this first team we're looking at. And I would just really appreciate it. You know, seeing the likes, seeing the comments, seeing the subscribers grow makes it all worth it. Anytime I put into this channel, making teams for everybody to use, you know, it's all worth it when I see all of the positive feedback. Give me negative feedback too. If it's fair, I'll take it. If it's fair, I'll take it. First up, we have my Grafaiai team. Grafaiai Team is probably disappearing sometime next week. How this team works is Grafaiai is an incredibly fast Pokemon with the Prankster ability, allowing it to have priority on status moves. It is currently the only Pokemon in all of Scarlet and Violet that gets Prankster Encore. People who know Whimsicott from last generation know how dangerous that can be. It's not the only Pokemon that gets Prankster Swagger. However, it's the one that I wanted to use the most because it has such a good speed stat. Prankster Swagger will go before other Prankster Pokemon move, right? Because Grafaiai is the fastest Prankster user as well. And how this team basically operates is that Swagger supports your entire team, okay? Everybody besides Rotom and Murkrow are supported by Swagger in some way. So obviously you can Swagger into your own Dragonite. Dragonite has the Lumberry, allowing you to then have a +2 attack boost on Dragonite. You can also Swagger into your own Mudsdale. Mudsdale has own tempo. It cannot be confused. It only gets those attack boosts, and Mudsdale can go off from there at +2 with the Assault Vest. And the bread and butter is that if you Swagger into your opponent, especially in a special attacker, you can give them a +2 attack boost, which special attackers don't care about, right? It helps them 0%. They get confused, and also, if Hawlucha is next to you on the field, if Hawlucha is Grafaiai's ally at that moment, Mirror Herb pops, Hawlucha copies that +2 attack boost that your opponent now has, Mirror Herb disappears, Unburden activates, Hawlucha becomes twice as fast as it was initially, and it loses its item, so Acrobatics' based power gets doubled. Gang, this is the strategy you are going to want to try to pull off the most, because it is very hard for your opponent to come back from that, okay? I have experienced a ton of success using this specifically against, like, Rotoms, right? You can Swagger a Rotom. You know that thing's not a physical attacker. And then Hawlucha just, you know, copies that thing. Maybe it takes out Rotom's ally. Maybe it just high jump kicks straight into the Rotom. But that's basically how that operates. Murkrow is there with Haze to be your Dondozo counter. I know people say you need more than Murkrow to be a Dondozo counter. Obviously, Hawlucha boosting, Dragonite boosting, Mudsdale boosting. That's not going to help you against Dondozo. However, Encore is also there on Grafaiai to counter Trick Room teams. It's there to counter other Pokemon that might want to go for Fake Out, that might want to go for Protect. Your opponent is going to want to Protect when they see your Hawlucha or Dragonite or Mudsdale set up, and the second they do, if Grafaiai is still alive, you can Encore them into really, really regretting that decision. And that's how that operates. Rotom is a special little thing. It is an Ice Terra type. That's for all the dragons that are running around. It'll really surprise your opponent because Rotom does not typically run Ice, especially not Rotom Heat. And as another fun little detail, Mudsdale, especially at +2, with Earthquake, does not hit Murkrow, does not hit Rotom, does not hit Dragonite, does not hit Hawlucha, okay? It will hit your own Grafaiai, so be careful about that. But once Grafaiai is gone, once it has helped set up Mudsdale, Mudsdale can just Earthquake all day. Okay, really, really nice synergy there. I'm quite proud of this team, and this team will be disappearing next week. So please, 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 if you're interested at all in this team, rental code is right there. Go check out the video if you haven't already. I would appreciate that. On to the next team. Up next, we have my Moody Co-Star team. Moody Co-Star is a combination that I discovered and sort of... Really, I wanted to use Flamigo, right? Because Flamigo was a Pokemon that I used in my playthrough. I think it has incredible potential. It's got one of the coolest new signature abilities that exists in all of Pokemon, I think, which is Co-Star. When Flamigo comes out on the field, it immediately copies any stat modifications that its ally has, okay? Typically, you'll see this used with maybe... People have been using it with Dondozo, right? Where they'll put a Toxic Orb on their own Tatsugiri, and then Tatsugiri will die, allowing Flamigo to come out and copy all of Dondozo's stat boosts. That's a lot to pull off, okay? I haven't seen it really used at all lately. It was used in like the first week of Scarlet and Violet. What I thought could be fun is if we used it alongside a Moody Pokemon, which at the time of making the video, I did think was only Glalie. I have been corrected. Scovillain also gets Moody. I will probably make another iteration of this team with Scovillain at some point because I really love the design of that Pokemon and its typing is cool as hell. But for now, we have Glalie, and the entire point of this team, the entire point, is to protect Glalie long enough that Flamigo can come out as your fourth Pokemon, copy all of Glalie's stat modifications, White Herb away all of the stat drops that Glalie is going to get in its boosting and deboosting that happens with Moody. Deboosting isn't really a term that makes sense. Buffing? Not debuffing. No, yes, debuffing. Dear God. And obviously copy any speed boosts are really great, attack boosts are really great, and then just defensive boosts are really great too, right? Special attack is the only thing that Flamigo really doesn't care about copying. And once you get rid of your White Herb, again, just like the Hawlucha team, Acrobatics becomes twice as powerful. And you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be able to copy a stat drop. And ultimately use up your White Herb. The additional thing about this team is that Armarouge is weak armor. So technically, if you saw a situation where it really didn't make any sense to bring Glalie, Flamigo can still copy weak armor boosts, which it likes doing, right? Weak armor drops your defense and raises your speed. Flamigo likes that. It still activates White Herb, and it still gets Flamigo fast enough that Acrobatics can put in work, close combat, throw chop, you name it. It also can copy Defiant boosts. Now, that doesn't activate White Herb unless the Defiant boost is not an Intimidate, right? An Intimidate will drop King Gambit's attack, and then Defiant will boost it up too, so there actually aren't any drops. It's just a +1 attack boost that Flamigo would copy. But say King Gambit gets hit by a... I was going to say Psychic. Can't get hit by a Psychic. Say it gets hit by a... I'm going to say Struggle Bug. I haven't seen Struggle Bug used at all. But maybe like a Snarl. Let's say Snarl. If it gets hit by a Snarl, it'll drop its special attack by 1, which is a stat drop, and then boost Defiant +2 attack. Flamigo will come in, copy both of those, White Herb away the special attack drop, and then it'll get that attack boost. So Defiant still does come in handy a little bit there. And then that is a fully support Mousehold with Super Fang. It's not Population Bomb, so be wary of that. It has Friend Guard. It's really there to support the Glalie, keep it alive. And this team is actually re-uploaded as a new rental code from the video that is linked below. Go check out that video because I still do put in a lot of the same strategies used here on this team, but I did improve it a bit. At that point, King Gambit was not a Ghost-type Terra-type. I didn't have the shards at the time. I got them, and now you can go and use this specific team. Everybody has a more advantageous Terra type now than was in that initial video. But this is the rental code. This is the same rental code that's in that video's description. Go check it out. Let me know when you use it. And this team will also be disappearing next week. Probably by the end of the week, this team will be gone. Go check it out. Go use it. I'd love to hear about your experience with it. On to the next team. And now we have my Klawf team. I really wanted to use Klawf as soon as it was announced because it was announced with its signature ability, which is called Anger Shell. Anger Shell, essentially, is a combination of competitive and shell smash. So as you'll know from like Galar Moltres, right? When you dropped below half, Moltres would suddenly get a second wind, right? It would get a special attack boost that would allow it to do a little more damage in its later time on the field, right? Klawf has that same thing, except instead of just a simple special attack boost, it drops its defenses and boosts its attack, special attack, and speed. Obviously, it doesn't care about the special attack boost, but it basically gives it a shell smash as soon as you drop below half health. That is really good, and it's especially good with Crabhammer Water Terra type. I've used that a ton. It's like the piece of type coverage that Klawf needs to be able to turn things around on, honestly, like a lot of steel types, right? Steel types have a good time against Klawf, especially Golden Go. You turn into a Water Terra type, you're able to resist it all of a sudden, and Knockoff and Crabhammer do a lot to steel types. There's also a lot of Pokemon that like Terra steel typing, right? Like Hydreigon, for example. You will be able to, after activating Anger Shell, really knock Hydreigon for a lot of damage. Something else I really loved about this team was the fact that Talonflame is a special Talonflame, doesn't care about Intimidate, and I got a lot of use out of Talonflame. If you go watch the Klawf video, you'll see Talonflame puts in a lot of work for this team. Obviously, Tailwind helps support the rest of the team. Gyarados and Gengar are really just attackers. Intimidate helps support Klawf a little bit. Gengar is there just as somebody who completely is just like a really great offensive presence in this generation, I think, which is so fun, right? Because Gengar used to be a way bigger deal than it was more recently, and now all of a sudden in Scarlet and Violet, it's seeing sort of a renaissance again. And it's a Dark Terra type so that you can sort of counter any psychic terrain teams that think that they can come in and take out Gengar. Not the case. Not the case with this one. Anyway, Talonflame does really support. Obviously, Will-O-Wisp surprises a lot of opponents. That supports Klawf. Tailwind supports Klawf. Heatwave will get you a couple of burns, supports Klawf. It doesn't care about Intimidate drops, which a lot of opponents will try to do to Talonflame. And this Talonflame can't be taunted, which a lot of opposing Murkrows will try to do to Talonflame, right? And we'll just try and taunt Talonflame turn 1, Mental Herb activates, and you can still get up that Tailwind, still get up that Will-O-Wisp, whatever you want to do. And obviously Grimmsnarl is there with Reflect and Light Screen to help support Klawf. You know, just dual screens Grimmsnarl, pretty standard, as well as that support Mousehold coming back, also putting in some work to help with some of the issues that Klawf might run into offensively. Super Fang, so nice, just immediately deleting half of your opponent's health. Klawf can deal with that Pokemon, regardless of what it is, once that happens. Really fun team. I think Klawf is super underappreciated in this gen. I had a lot of fun using this team, and you know I'm a fan of derpy Pokemon, okay? My channel mascot is Lickitung, for Christ's sake. All right, so I had to use Klawf, and I think we put it to pretty good use. Let me know if you use this team. On to the next one. Up next is my Cetitan Trick Room Hail team. Damn it, I said hail now. I said hail a million times in that video. It's not hail anymore. It's snow now, which if you didn't know, no longer hurts Pokemon in between turns, and instead boosts the defense stat of any ice-type Pokemon on the field, which really helps ice types in this generation. Guys, this team is really hard to pilot because you have to sort of make a lot of good reads. This is like really the player's team because you have to know what your opponent's trying to do and you have to counter that. This team has two options. It has two modes. It can go fast or it can go slow. And you want to do the opposite of what your opponent is doing And if you get that wrong, you'll probably just lose the game. Okay, so it's high risk, high reward kind of situation. What I ended up doing a lot was we also have the Trick Room Indeedee on this team, which very controversial. It's not a Pokemon that's easy to get. And female Indeedee should not have Trick Room. It's glitched, but you can get it in the game, and here you can use it for yourself. Usually I will lead Indeedee and Slowking, right? Because Slowking gets a new move in this generation called Chilly Reception, which essentially means that it sets snow and then dips and leaves the field. And then you can switch in a new Pokemon, like a U-turn or a flip turn. That's obviously really nice because Slowking is so slow that it will usually go last. And Slowking is bulky, so it will usually live and then go last, and then Cetitan gets in for free if that's what you want to do. Alternatively, you could set Trick Room with Slowking. Alternatively, you could attack with Slowking while Indeedee Trick Rooms if you think that you can trick your opponent that way. And that might set up Trick Room for you. Cetitan is not the fastest Pokemon in the world. So against really fast Pokemon and any team that's trying to set up set up Tailwind, Cetitan will underspeed those Pokemon, meaning it'll go first in Trick Room. So Cetitan still can take use of Trick Room. However, it is also in Hail faster than Dragapult. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you want to set Hail, Cetitan is your friend. And then we have Armorage, Clear Smog. That's going to be hopefully your Dondozo counter. Farigiraf is a Pokemon that a lot of people are using as just a Trick Room setter. Makes a lot of sense. It gets an ability that stops opponents from using priority moves, so it can't be faked out. Really good Trick Room setter. This one doesn't do that. This one is an Assault Vest, max special attack, Quiet Nature Farigiraf, and it does damage. It hits really, really hard. Got a lot of really great type coverage. Your opponent will not see it coming. And it's a Fairy Terra type, so you can really punish Hydreigans. Hydreigans will want to go after this Farigiraf. Even if you don't Terra, the Assault Vest really helps taking Dark Pulses. And if you do want to Terra, you will then resist the Dark Pulse and Dazzling Gleam in their face, removing any Dragon types on the field, which there are many. There are many currently. Abomasnow, obviously, Aurora Veil setter, sets the snow for Cetitan if you want to go that direction. Another great strategy. And Cetitan just hits so hard. It has Slush Rush, but Ice Spinner, Liquidation, Play Rough, all very, very good physical moves. Great type coverage. Water Terra type, so you can resist any steel moves coming your way, just like Klawf. And that's the team. Again, use with caution because it's hard to pilot, but very, very fun. And I would challenge anybody who considers themselves a very good battler to use this team because I think you will find success. And I'd love to hear about it. On to the next team. And finally, we have my most recent team, my Dead Dog team, my Sand Dondozo Houndstone team. This team will be disappearing last, so it probably does have a couple of weeks in it. Gang, I've talked a lot about how much fun and how good the rest of my teams have been in this video. This is the team. This is the team. This is the team I'm most proud of. As far as like consistency, I think it probably goes this team and then Grafaiai. As far as, gimmicks be damned, they just perform really, really well. This is the team that I've used the most off camera to help win back some of my ranked battles that I've lost for trying to figure out various other teams. This team has really helped my ratio, and it's incredible. It's really, really fun to use. It works surprisingly well for what seems like super gimmicky. And let me break that down for you, okay? The idea here was I wanted to make Last Respects work as consistently as possible. What Last Respects is that it gains 50 base power for every one of your Pokemon that has fainted already in the battle. It starts at 50 base power, and then it'll go to 100, and then it'll go to 150, and then it'll go to 200 if Houndstone is the last Pokemon on the field. This team also has the potential of getting Last Respects to 250 base power because Pawmot has Revival Blessing. I wanted to use this with Dondozo and Tatsugiri because typically, Dondozo's whole thing, right, is that when you throw it out with Tatsugiri, one of them has to go down. Dondozo has to faint before more Pokemon can even come on the field. So that guarantees Last Respect is going to get a boost before it can come out. And then Tatsugiri is pretty frail, so that'll usually also go down. I also threw Memento on the Tatsugiri so that you can support Houndstone by debuffing your opponent and then also boosting Last Respects because Tatsugiri will faint. I also provided Sand via Tyranitar, who has a flying Terra type, which has been amazing, by the way. I probably Terra Tyranitar more than any other Pokemon on this entire team. And it's a jolly nature, and Sand obviously boosts Houndstone's speed via Sand Rush, doubling Houndstone's speed and allowing it to move first in pretty much every single situation once it's out. And then I wanted to also build around that and include Pawmot and Annihilate. Annihilate is there as the Choice Scarf Final Gambit version because Annihilate will use Final Gambit before anybody else can move. Take out your opponent's like Murkrow, who is probably their counter to Dondozo, or take out their Amoonguss, who is maybe their answer to Dondozo, right? Or take out their Grimmsnarl, who won't have time to set up both screens, right? Because you've, gotten rid of them with Final Gambit. And that then faints Annihilate and boosts Last Respects. Pawmot is there to revive anybody on the field who might want to come back and also faint again before Houndstone comes out, boosting Last Respects even further than a VGC battle should allow Last Respects to be boosted, which is very, very fun to pull off. And guys, what I discovered using this team is that every single battle, I lead Pawmot and Annihilate. And you might think, why would you lead with your two fighting types? Doesn't that provide a lot of issues with type coverage and whatnot? No, not really. Because what ends up happening more times than not is that Annihilate goes. On turn one, your opponent's probably trying to do some junk with either Tailwind or Fake Out or Screens or whatever, right? It's the turn that is most likely to not be a turn they're going for damage, right? They might also be trying to boost that turn. And Annihilate clicks Final Gambit immediately. 9 times out of 10. Takes out one of their support mons. Pawmot either doesn't get hit at all because your opponent is trying to set something up, or it gets knocked to its sash. At which point, on the next turn, Pawmot is so lightning fast that you're still able to get that Revival Blessing off to bring Annihilate back in. And now Annihilate comes back into your party at half health, still has the Choice Scarf, but is not locked into Final Gambit anymore. So you can use your Choice Scarf at that point to go for close combat, go for U-turn, go for Rage Fist, to try and whittle down your opponent even a little bit more before Houndstone comes out. At this point, Tyranitar's already set Sand, it's on the field. And I would say probably 50% of the time, I go Pawmot, Annihilate, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, and 50% of the time, I do not bring Dondozo, Tatsugiri. I bring T-Tar and Houndstone in the back. Every now and then, I'll bring like Pawmot, T-Tar, Dondozo, and Tatsugiri, and I won't bring Annihilate. That's pretty rare. I'd say I'm usually trying to go for like the fun plays, so I'll see my opponent's team. I know that they have to bring their counter to Dondozo because obviously I'm going to bring Dondozo. And then I just don't bring Dondozo. I bring T-Tar and Houndstone in the back. And the beautiful thing is that Houndstone cannot be countered by Haze because Last Respects is not an attack boost. It is a base power boost. It cannot be affected by Unaware. If your opponent has Skeledirge or Dondozo itself, it doesn't matter because it's a base power boost on the move, not a stat boost. It isn't the same thing. Last Respects cannot be countered in the same way, and so it still gets crazy amounts of damage. Same thing with Choice Band. It's not an attack boost, right? It's not something that can be disappeared by Haze. It is something that exists within the build of the Pokemon as an item. And yeah, it just puts in a lot of damage. I rarely use Trick. Sometimes I think it's fun to lead T-Tar and Houndstone and to Choice Band your or trick your choice band onto like an Amoonguss or something, or onto a Golden Go or onto a Rotom, lock them into a move without benefiting their attack at all. That can work sometimes. That's only if you think that you're not going to be going for last respects. You know, that's usually when it's like, oh, this is like a weird kind of lead, or maybe they're going to go for Trick Room, right? And that's your answer to Trick Room. It's just a choice band of their Trick Room user. Then like they have to use Trick Room again or swap out, and then you just sort of stall the Trick Room turns. Maybe. But most of the time it's Pawmot, Annihilate, T-Tar, Houndstone. Click last respects. Have fun. Please let me know if you use this team. I genuinely adore and care about this team so much, and I'm so happy to say that it will be disappearing last. It's going to be here for the next couple of weeks. I think you can tell that I like this team a lot. I've definitely spent the most time just now breaking it down out of any of the other teams. And yeah, have a good time. Dead Dog, really, really fun. Let me know if you use it. That is going to be it for this video, gang. Thanks so much for checking out the channel. Thanks so much for clicking on the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out these teams again. All of them are linked in the description below in order of disappearance. It's going to be Grafaiai, and then it's going to be Flamigo, Glalie, and then it's going to be Klawf, and then it's going to be Cetitan, Trick Room, and then it is going to be Dead Dog, Houndstone, Dondozo, Pawmot. All of these teams have Pokepaste that will never disappear, so please feel free to go use them on Showdown. If you're watching this video far into the future and they have all disappeared, you can recreate the team yourself using all of the stat breakdowns that I've included in the descriptions of those videos. Go check them out. I'd love to hear about it. Maybe you improve upon the teams. That'd be cool to hear about too. I am not a god. I am not a world champion. I'm not, you know, none of these teams are fully 100% foolproof. You know, that's the beauty of Pokemon. Thanks so much for watching again. I really do appreciate it. Join the Berm Firm Discord. Link to that in the description below. Love to see you over there. And until next time, my name is Berm. See you later.